Hello everyone, it's me, Nancy Finch, doing another Tea with Nan at 12 o'clock on a Monday. Happy Monday to you all. I'm hoping that you've had a good week since I've last been on here. It's a lovely day again and I'm very grateful and very happy, and I've set the vibe and and I see I've got somebody on here already. So happy Monday to you, whoever you are. It's lovely that you've joined me. Say hi and I'll send you a big hug. Anyway, so how are you all? Oh, it's Jane. Hello, darling. Lovely to see you. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying all the Tea with Nans I do. I know you're often here, so I'm sending you a big hug. And Annie, you're here as well. Lovely. Thank you. I hope you're having a good day. And I put a little thing on Facebook about finding your power song today. So we're all singing different songs, I think, and making ourselves happier and raising our emotional balloon, aren't we, Annie? You were dancing around the kitchen, I believe. That's really great. So what's today's Tea with Nan about? Well, it's all about going with the flow. How often do we go with the flow? We don't, do we? I mean, going with the flow is taking it easy and being flexible, yes. But we quite often don't. We don't go with the flow because we want everything in order. We want to be in control of something. So while we're sort of focused on it, we must have it this way or do it this way, we get sort of caught in a bit of a habit with that, thinking that is going to give us a feeling of safety, it's going to make me feel in control, it's going to make me happy and satisfied. But what happens when it goes wrong? What happens when something goes wrong and you think, oh no, I can't do that now, or that's changed, or I'm not going to be able to get what I wanted? So quite often we don't know how to go with the flow, to be flexible, to let it go, just let it go, and not be rigid and reactive, and not letting it trigger us into a way of behaving or thinking. Or oh, hi Julie, lovely to see you, darling. Big Monday hug to you. Oh, I'm getting tongue-tied already. So basically, we don't go with the flow when things go wrong, do we? Not a lot of us don't know how to. We have to have things in order. We have to be in control of it. So we become tense in our bodies, don't we? When we find we can't, something goes wrong and we think, I've got to make sure that's right. So quite often when we're rigid and we're feeling like, I must do that really stubbornly maybe, our mind becomes very narrow for what we can achieve, We're not being flexible. We're not finding other ways of dealing with that. Hugs back to you, says Julie. That's lovely. Thank you. So we kind of narrow our mind a bit to what we've always had. When we go with the flow, we open more doors of opportunity, don't we? Oh, hi Bex, lovely to see you. Big Monday hug to you, darling. So we become stressed, don't we, if we're trying. And Tracy, hi Tracy, happy Monday to you, my sweet. We become rigid, we become stressed, our mind becomes more sort of narrow-minded, we become stubborn if we're having an argument with someone or think we're staying in that place. So we can't open doors of new thinking. We can't do new things if we're staying so rigid. So going with the flow actually offers you many things. Offers you a chance to be open-minded. Oh, hi Wendy, lovely to see you, darling. Big hug to you too. Oh, that's lovely, Tracy. Thank you. So it offers you other ways of dealing with things, doesn't it? When you go with the flow, you might find there's another solution, another way of looking at it, whatever that situation is or what you're going through. So going with the flow is a nice, gentle feeling, just letting it go, because not everything needs to be let go of. Obviously, you need to make some changes if you're in some situation that's making you desperately unhappy. But to have that tension in your body for that moment is not good for you. There's always a way of changing your life when you're calm. You can think about things when you're calm. You can't if you're reacting in a stressed way, because your inner child will be out there sort of reacting with anger or other feelings that aren't really going to serve you to make good decisions, are they? So your body gets tense, your mind gets tense. I mean, your adrenal levels. If you get stressed because you're not in control, or that's not worked out, or that's not worked out, immediately that goes to the yellow area, the solar plexus area. Oh, thanks for the hugs, guys. That's so nice. So it goes to this area here in your body, and that affects everything in your body actually. But your fight and flight reaction, your hormones are going to be activated, and that's not very good for your body to do all the time. So, and we get used to that kind of feeling, our subconscious says I have to be in control, right? And basically something goes wrong, on a subconscious level, you've got a way of reacting to that, and it's already formed a pathway in your brain. So you are going to go back to that of, oh, I must get it sorted. And straight away, the tension is in your tummy. Have you noticed? Yes. So it's in your tummy, and it does this. It clenches your muscles and doesn't make you feel very good. And can you really, really think properly when that's happening? No. So it's better to go with the flow. If it's really not that important to stay rigid, then don't. You know, decide to yourself, is this really worth my tension? Because what you're feeling inside you and what you're experiencing, you're going to have more of by the law of attraction. And we all know that happens too. So whatever you're feeling, you attract more of it, don't you? Yes, it brings more to you. And emotionally, you're not feeling that great. You're feeling frustrated, unhappiness, you know, other negative emotions. So it can be very disruptive for you. It can make you feel less happy than you could be. So go with the flow. I mean, Taoist spiritual practices, you know, they often say there is a need to be flexible, the need for flexibility. And Confucius, I've got a little board here with this written on, Confucius quote, which I really like this one, so have a listen to this, and maybe even write it down if you like. The green reed which bends in the wind is stronger than the mighty oak. Yes, the mighty oak might be great, but it's rigid and it can be broken, it can be knocked over. So basically, the green reed which bends in the wind is stronger than the mighty oak. So why don't we kind of have that image in our head? The next time something happens that we don't want to happen and we're rigid with that reaction, why don't we just go with the flow? Just say, okay, that didn't work, that's fine. I'm going to find another way around it. I'm just going to ease in my day. I'm just going to find another way, you know? I've got a little thing I've written down here for you, a little affirmation that you can say, a mantra if you like. I let it go and go with the flow. So when something happens, you could reform that synapses, you know, the pathway you've formed already, the reaction that you've had up to now. You could reform it with, I let it go and go with the flow. So now, if you can keep saying that, you're going to override that reaction, that kickback reaction. It will no longer trigger you to set those adrenal levels off, but you will feel much better, much more in control, and you're programming yourself with that lovely sentence, I let it go and go with the flow. Lovely. Or you could say, I go with the flow and trust what I know, whichever suits you best. I wrote two down, but I prefer this one. I let it go and go with the flow. It's a way of reprogramming your mind and programming yourself, your reaction to something, which is what we have to do if we're going to make the right decisions. And sometimes, as I say, when we're really stressed or worried or rigid, we don't make those decisions. We don't make right decisions. We make a decision that's formed on that reaction. And so stress is never you never make a decision when you're stressed or worried because, you know, it's just too limited. So it affects, as I say, in lots of ways. I mean, if you wouldn't head into a storm in a boat, would you? Straight head on. Because the storm, you know, it would just break your boat. You wouldn't have a boat. And when, you know, in life, we don't just head straight on rigid. We go round problems. We find ways to save our emotional and physical energy. And that's what we really need to practice. You know, if we stand rigid, I've got to get my point across in an argument maybe, or really rigid and hard maybe, then you're just restricting yourself. It could be pride or ego. It could be something that you're thinking, I must get my point across. I have to stand up for myself. Well, really, whenever I've done that, I've realised it's just because my ego told me I had to be right, or I had to put my point across so I felt valid. And, oh, hi, man. Lovely to see you, darling. Happy Monday. Hug to you. So quite often we can be rigid because we want to be in control. We want our ego to feel validated. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that we quite often don't feel validated in life. And when we're challenged, we want to stand rigid to put our point across. But it's not really the way to be heard, is it? The softer approach is always the way, because otherwise people resist, don't they? So, yeah, Wayne Dyer said, it's better to be kind than right. That's a lovely quote from him. I love that. Because when you're being kind, you're taking that person's view, say, in an argument. It's better to be kind than right. So you're taking their view, you're respecting their view, the way they look at life, and you're respecting your own. So it's better to be kind than right. And if you think about that, that removes all possibility of being thinking I must get this sorted. I must tell them how I feel. Oh, please can you repeat that mantra? Yes, I can, Annie. I let it go and go with the flow. I let it go and go with the flow. And if you wanted to, you could actually just imagine that you're the reed, the beautiful green reed, moving beautifully, softly. It's going to survive, isn't it? It's unlike the oak tree. So I let it go and go with the flow. You could reprogram, as I say, your mind when you do that, okay? It's lovely. And of course, it's better to be kind than right. People come from their own views in an argument, families, situations, anybody that's confronting you. We've got to validate them. Oh, you're welcome, Annie. Very welcome. I'll say it again at the end. So we've got to validate their view. Otherwise, we can't learn anything, can we really? We validate it. It may not be our view. It may not be how we want to see it. But we have to always respect another person because that's their view of that situation. And if we do that, we're really calm. We're kind. Oh, hi, Kerry. Lovely to see you, darling. So we're being kind. Kindness is always a good thing. It's good for your body. It's good for them. It's going to avoid more problems, isn't it? It's going to avoid more negative reactions or from them and from you. So in a situation where you feel I must get my point across, why waste your energy? You know, if they can't or won't listen to you, then I let it go and go with the flow. It's not that important. It's certainly not. You're not going to give away your power and let somebody or something else upset you and your body, your mind, take away all your peace of mind and give you a feeling of stress and worry. You know, that reaction goes straight into your body, and we don't put poison in our water, so we shouldn't let another person or situation affect our adrenal levels, our fight and flight. And if you find yourself in that tense place, then just remind yourself, I let it go and go with the flow. I let it go. And then just keep picturing yourself as a soft reed moving in the wind. You can get your point across in another way. And is it really that urgent? You know, quite often it isn't. We think it is because we're reacting, but quite often if we sidestep it, you know, we don't go into a heavy storm with an umbrella straight, you know, we have to go again around the storm, don't we? We find a way of being away from that tension naturally to survive. So let's think about that when you're feeling that I must put that point across, or you've recognized that tension building. Let's change it. Just say to yourself, if you're stuck in that situation and you can't get out of it, just say that little mantra to yourself. Or you could even, I've got moving mantras that I've got in my Nan Talks. If you go to my website, www.nancyfinch.co.uk, you'll find in the blue section, if you tap on the little man here, and you'll find moving mantras in the blue. And so I've written it down here to remind me, because you could say, and put it to a rhythm, I let it go and go with the flow. I let it go. Just let it go. You know, don't let it stick to you. Don't let it affect you. Whether you've got something wrong or you're judging yourself or whatever's happening on around you. I mean, it could be something practical that's happened that you need something, the car breaks down or whatever. Just go with the flow. You know, being rigid is not going to help. In fact, it's just going to make you feel worse. And having to be in control of something all the time is quite exhausting, isn't it? I know I've done it most of my life. So I've written something here that might help you. So maybe 3 steps. Recognize when the tension is building inside you. Recognize it. Your tummy will tell you. If you feel, oh no, I can't do that, or I've messed that up, or someone's upset me, or they're whatever going on around you, whatever's happening, that you feel that reaction, just recognize it for a minute and hold it up. Imagine holding up that feeling and thinking, okay, that's affecting me. I know I'm going to say my sentence, and just nip it in the bud straight away. Otherwise, it's going to come into you. It's going to affect your cell energy. So take a step back from that reaction and conserve your energy. You know, that's something. Take a deep breath and just think, no, I'm not letting it into my body. I'm not going to let it affect my mind. I'm not going to let it affect my peace of mind, you know. So I let it go and go with the flow. And then literally just either remove yourself if you need to from that situation, or go and do something else. Because if you can change your mind, if you can distract yourself a little bit with something you want to do, you know, that's not what you're focused on, then you're more likely to find the answer. Because you're not focused on, I can't do this. You let it go, go with the flow, And suddenly the answer comes into your mind because you're calm. And when you take a deep breath and say this in your mind or say it out loud, the more you do it. Oh, hi Sophie. Hello, darling. Happy Monday to you, my sweet. So the more you practice this, the better it is. So maybe you've noticed the tension in your body. You've got a situation that's confrontational or difficult or challenging. Notice it. You have to notice it to get rid of it, don't you? So you notice it, take a deep breath, and say the mantra. Say that beautiful affirmation if you want. Make it a mantra to the sound, if you like. Or just say it in your mind. And you're definitely stopping that reaction from coming into you and hurting you. And you'll feel more relaxed and you'll make the better decisions from it because you're going to feel, you know, I'm in charge here. I've just done something to stop that from affecting me. Your brain believes it, by the way, after a while, because the subconscious, 95% of it will go, I don't feel like I can let it go. But after a while, I mean, 5% is going to be sort of feeling this, but the subconscious makes it happen. So there you are on that 5% going, I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I'm not in control. Hi, Susan. I'm not in control, says the 5%. This is a lie. I can't go with the flow. But the subconscious believes every single word you say to yourself. So when you say that to yourself, you're undoing the damage that feeling, that tension has been doing to you. And of course, it's better to be kind than right. Be kind to people. You know, it doesn't mean you've lost the battle or they mean more or that you don't value yourself enough. You value your body and you value your peace of mind when you let it go. And just keep thinking about the flow. Just think of it. Oh, hi, Karen. Lovely to see you, darling. So, like Confucius said, write it down maybe. The green reed which bends in the wind is stronger than any mighty oak. So just remember that. It's better to bend. You know, just flow. Just go with the flow. And when something goes wrong, don't react in the same way. Stop yourself from doing that. Take a breath. You know, half the time we react against things that aren't really that important. We think they are. Oh, thanks for the hugs, guys. But we don't want our stress hormones going around our body, do we? We feel powerless when we're stressed. So it's really good to feel calm and take that breath and take yourself down to a lovely level of, it's okay, I'm just going to let it go. Adjust yourself to whatever's going wrong in your life. Adjust yourself gently. You know, just think, when you're calm, you make those decisions that put you in a better place. And you can't do that, as I say, if you're rigid. So I think I've virtually said everything. Oh, no, I haven't. Okay, I've got a NAN talk that I want to, the NAN talk, another NAN talk I've got. If you go into the indigo area of that little chakra man, you'll see a talk talking about still your waters. So it's about you taking a breath again and stilling your waters. Imagine the choppy waters, you're just going to still the waters. And imagine if you're just stilling the waters, you're calm. And when you're calm, you can look into the water and you can see the solution you need. It's a lovely one to practice to calm you down if you feel you're reacting in a rigid way. So that's another one you can do. You can do the moving mantras in the blue, that's this one, and you can do still your waters in the indigo. So either one of those talks would really help to support what we're talking about today. But the affirmation, the mantra, I let it go and go with the flow, will definitely help you. And if you could practice that every time you get into a situation where something's broken, something's not right, someone's confronting me, problem at work, family stuff, you know, it doesn't mean that you're letting them get away with it or whatever, if it's family and friends, or that it's okay that this is broken or that's not working. It isn't okay, so I validate you, but it isn't good for you to feel that rigid and that tension in your body. It only attracts more of it. And what kind of vibe is that you're giving out? It's really not very nice. So we're more likely to be in control and feel powerful if we can say this. We're more likely to be calm, make better decisions. Our bodies will probably work better because we're not stressed. And we will just find other solutions to whatever the problem is. So maybe just say it again. You know, I let it go and go with the flow. And even if you haven't got a situation, it does feel good to say it. Just think everything you've always been rigid with. Maybe override that now. You know, it doesn't, as I say, it doesn't mean that, you know, if you have to forgive somebody, that's great too. It's better to be kind than right. I let it go and go with the flow. because that is really important, and you will feel better for it. And so when you're feeling calm and you let it go, then you can make major decisions that you need to change your life for the better. Okay? And if it's not a major decision you need to do, you just feel great. So I hope everyone likes what we're talking about today. I'm just seeing if I've forgotten anything. No. So on a practical level, just look, feel how you feel. Get into yourself. Your body's a divining tool. So if you feel in your tummy area, that's where it's going to show. I keep touching my tummy here. But if you feel tense, it's because you're not feeling in control. Something's going wrong, around you, or you haven't got it right. Quite a lot of times it's self-judgment people have, and they don't feel they've got it right, so they get upset and they have to get it right. I know quite a few lovely people that suffer from OCD, and they have to get everything in complete order, and if they don't get that one thing right, oh, thank you, Julie, then they get stressed, don't they? What does that do to them? So maybe it's a good practice to get into. Just keep saying it. See the green reeds moving in the wind. Let it go and go with the flow. And, gradually all that tension leaves you, and you feel better and you feel happier, and you can make, as I say, better decisions for yourself. And half the things you really react against quite a lot of the time are really not that big. They're only tiny things in life. So a lot of the time people react, hurt their bodies, attract more of it, and wonder why they're in that tiny place of, not feeling great. So we've got a choice. Never forget it. We've got a choice. And if I can change it, so can you. So I used to hang on to everything. I used to have an argument with somebody and hang on to every word that was said. Well, that's not good for you, is it? I soon learned not to do that. And so practice and play with this and write it down. Put it on a little post-it note somewhere so you can just remember to say this whenever you get a need to. I let it go and go with the flow. And basically trusting yourself, because you will have the answer from whatever's happening. You will have the answer come into your mind if you're calm. The other affirmation is, I go with the flow and trust what I know. So that's where you go, okay, this hasn't happened, this hasn't worked, I'm going to find another solution later. But I'm not going to really be tense about it now. I'm just going to go with the flow and trust myself, okay? Oh, thank you, Tracy. Oh, I'm so pleased you said that. It's lovely. It's good. I tune in, I think, what do people need today? Well, we've all been so rigid because we needed to get out of a situation or control our lives and make sure everything's patted down nicely in order. But sometimes it's good not to have, to break that order and to understand if it does happen that it's not going according to plan. It's okay. We can just go around it. We can find another way. Okay? We all have that ability to trust ourselves, and we do that more and more the more we take control with a sentence, with an intention. This is a lovely intention to say every day. Or perhaps you could do it for a whole week. Put it on the mirror. I let it go and go with the flow. Get to learn it. And then next time a situation comes up, you'll just be relaxed. That's a lovely way to be. You can get over anything if you're calm. You need to be centered. You need to be calm and grounded. And that's another way of doing it. So I'm glad everyone's enjoyed this today, because I have. And the time's gone, I know. I'm thinking now, actually, before I go, I'm thinking of doing my Tea with Nans on YouTube and putting a link on here so that you can just join me on there, because it's getting to more people. So I'm going to give it some thought this week. And I probably will, if I do put it on Facebook, you will have a link go straight to it and it'll still be live. So that would be lovely. Thank you for the hearts, guys. Oh, it's so lovely of you. If any of you need to talk to me, you can email me on nancyfinch@hotmail.co.uk. And again, you can go to www.nancyfinch.co.uk. Oh, thank you, Jane. That's lovely. And so I'll see you again next week, next Monday, probably on YouTube, if I can get that working. Oh, so thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy the mantra, let it go and go with the flow. Or you can use this as an affirmation. The moving mantra I quite like. You can do it as you're walking around or doing something, an action or a sound, which is really good. I like that too. So have a good week, guys. I shall see you next week. And, well, just be happy. Keep your emotional balloon high. Let everything go. It's really not that, quite a lot of the time, it's not that important. Just let it go. Don't let our ego keep us in a rigid place. Just go with the flow. Lovely. I shall see you next week. Thank you. Happy hugs and namaste, love. Okay, I shall see you soon. Take care, everybody.